We have breaking news at 11, and this video just in. Protesters setting a dumpster on fire right outside the downtown detention center where many federal immigration detainees are being held. Firefighters responded, but then backed away when they were confronted by a handful of protesters still in the street. It took about 20 minutes before law enforcement redeployed.
Look at the chaos unfolding in downtown LA. That is a dumpster fire blocking a federal loading dock during a massive ice out protest. This isn't just a random demonstration. This is the physical fallout of a high-stakes legal war between states and the federal government that just reached a boiling point in the courts.
It took about 20 minutes before law enforcement redeployed and chased those protesters away. By then, the fire had mostly burned itself out, and the fire trucks turned around and left the scene. Let's take a live look right now at that scene. Fire crews just arriving back on the scene. You see some smoke rising from that dumpster. We saw that being moved into that area during the 5 o'clock edition of Eyewitness News. They had taken that dumpster from another area of the lot and moved it to right in front of the entrance to the loading dock of the building there. This is the Metropolitan Detention Center, again, where many detainees are kept, held until they can be taken or transported to other locations in other parts of the country or...
Did you see how the firefighters had to back away? Those protesters literally blocked the engine while a fire was burning right in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center. This is happening because a federal judge in Minnesota just ruled that the Trump administration can keep its 3,000 agent Operation Metro Surge active. People are furious because this crackdown has been linked to the deaths of 2 individuals, Alex Preddy and Renee Good. When you see the streets of LA on fire like this, you're looking at a direct reaction to the administration's refusal to scale back. The LAPD actually had to issue a tactical alert just to keep the peace. Notice the coordination here. Protesters moved specifically to the loading docks where detainees are processed. This isn't just noise. It's a strategic attempt to shut down federal operations by any means necessary. It's wild to see how quickly a legal victory in a Minnesota courtroom can trigger a literal fire in California.
I can tell you that the situation is under control, but it is ongoing. And there was a interaction that was violent for a minute, but it was brought under control. First, you had the federal officers defending the federal building, and they acted in the beginning, and they dispersed tear gas. Then when it moved into the street, then of course the Los Angeles Police Department takes over. There is a show of force there, but so far they have been managing it. I think it's down to about 150 people, and they're kind of scattered around one particular intersection. So I think that it will end okay, but we are on a tactical alert right now in our city, and all of this is unnecessary. We have to go back to the origin of all of these protests. Nobody would be protesting now in the street if Minneapolis hadn't happened. We wouldn't have had protests in Los Angeles if they hadn't invaded us.
Wait, did you catch the word Mayor Karen Bass just used? She called the federal presence an invasion. That is incredibly strong language for the mayor of the second largest city in America. She's essentially arguing that the federal government is overstepping its constitutional bounds so severely that it feels like a foreign military occupation. Bass is linking the LA protests directly to what happened in Minneapolis, saying if the invasion hadn't happened there, LA would still be quiet. It's a bold political gamble, but it shows the level of tension between sanctuary city leaders and the White House. She's leaning hard into the 10th Amendment argument, the idea that states have the right to protect their own residents without federal interference. But as the courts just proved, that argument is currently failing to hold up under the Operation Metro Surge legal framework.
A reason that these particular journalists were arrested. Read between the lines for us there. Why do you think the Trump administration moved to charge Georgia Ford and Don Lemon, these specific people?
Well, I mean, first of all, they're two African-American reporters, and I don't know, maybe they were the only reporters there. I highly doubt it. But it's interesting, Georgia, because I believe, and please tell me if I'm wrong, that she was one of the only reporters that covered the George Floyd case, or rather covered Derek Chauvin's trial. And we know that the administration is considering pardoning him. And so you arrest the two African-American reporters, but I also heard that there were two other African-American reporters that were arrested as well. I have not confirmed that, but I will tell you that I know that journalists are worried. I know that black journalists are worried. I did a call afterwards with a number of our local black press and a number of our elected officials, and they expressed that they were concerned. But I also said at the press conference that, frankly,
This part of the interview is the most controversial. Bass is talking about the arrests of journalists Don Lemon and Georgia Ford. Think about the optics here. You have two high-profile African-American reporters being taken into custody during these protests. The mayor is essentially implying there was a motive behind picking them out of the crowd. Whether you like Lemon or not, his arrest on federal conspiracy charges is a massive story for the First Amendment. The administration claims they were participating in the mob that stormed a church, while the journalists say they were just doing their jobs. Bass is using this to paint the administration as not just aggressive on immigration, but actively hostile toward the press. It's a layered battle: immigration, civil rights, and press freedom, all clashing at the same time.
Well, as you detailed there, Omar, the judge said that Operation Metro Surge can continue to take place in Minnesota. And this is after weeks of escalating tensions there, and as we are seeing protests across the country take place this weekend. Now, earlier this month, the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities sued federal officials, saying that the law enforcement operation there, the immigration enforcement operation there, was a federal invasion. And they said that it was involving warrantless arrest and excessive forces. Now, this also comes as really the face of the administration's response to all of this. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, her future in the administration is being questioned by many. Important to note here, though, that President Donald Trump himself is defending her. He did take to
This CNN report breaks down the core of the ruling. Even though Judge Menendez was a Biden appointee, she ultimately decided she didn't have the authority to micromanage how the president deploys federal agents. This is a huge win for AG Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice. They're arguing that because Minnesota has sanctuary laws, they have to surge agents because local police won't cooperate. It's a perfect legal catch-22. The state says the surge is illegal, and the feds say the surge is only necessary because the state won't follow federal law. The judge acknowledged the heartbreaking impact on the community, but in the end, the law leaned toward the executive branch's power. This legal war is just getting started. What do you think? Is the federal surge a necessary enforcement tool or a total overreach? Let me know in the comments.